And for those of you who are coming for the first time, welcome to the family. You'll keep getting mails from us. You will be spammed. Uh, and of course, you will sometimes get some pearls of wisdom written by the research team at ORF. But clearly, this ninth edition of Sci-Fi, as we meet today, we meet in, as the Chinese would say, interesting times. The assumptions that have underpinned digital technologies since when we first conceived this event in 2013 have changed dramatically. There are clearly two competing narratives that shaped this program then. One about the emancipatory potential of digital technologies, as witnessed by episodes such as the Arab Spring, and the worrying implications of government abuse of internet platforms for surveillance, evidenced in the Snowden revelations. 8 editions later, 6 in Delhi and 2 in Morocco, it is clear which way the pendulum is swinging. The democratic ideal of cyberspace has given way to concerns around privacy, concentration of wealth, and national security. The very platforms that enabled new forms of expression and supported new social coalitions have inadvertently created a sprawling apparatus for surveillance and exploitative control. The availability of data has allowed a plethora of actors to generate granular information about behavioral preferences, making the fickle human mind ever more vulnerable to influence and polarized thinking. This is now the new normal that we meet in. 2 decades ago, the refrain, eloquently phrased by Professor Lawrence Lessig, was "code is law." Today, it's probably appropriate to say code is indeed life. Opaque algorithms fueled by what the Indian Supreme Court once termed data valence define the interactions of individuals and communities and their relationship with industry and the state. The boardrooms that develop these algorithms remain answerable only to their shareholders, if at all, often at the expense of the customers and users. Frameworks for accountability in the digital age, whether from nation states or technology companies, have yet to emerge. States have also taken note of these new tensions. Indeed, they are back. Given the vast social and strategic implications of digital technologies, their evolution in the coming decade will undeniably be shaped by the strong arm and long reach of the state. Governments have instinctively spiraled themselves into a zero-sum race to lead in the development and deployment of these technologies. As a consequence, the internet today is less global, less secure, and less free than it has ever been at any time since its widespread adoption. Taken together, these new realities have produced disorder in technology and social systems globally. Malicious actors have aggregated on social media to produce splintered information environments. Malicious actors have weaponized data and algorithms, while states are intent on erasing private spaces and exerting sovereign control over global flows of information. 2 decades into the 21st century, the structural forces being driven by the digital technologies appear to be leading us into a more polarized and more fractured world. It is indeed the splinter net that we inhabit today. All consequential evolutions in technologies have required societies to create new arrangements. In this, the past is no longer prologue, and it cannot help us. The velocity of change and disruptions underway today is unprecedented. The real world is now complemented and implicated by the virtual world. This is a new domain altogether, and its governance is not bound by traditional rules and constraints, and indeed, by our collective experiences. Its governance will require new approaches. The 25 conversations we have curated at Sci-Fi 2019 at this event are designed to acknowledge this new reality and perhaps to discover pragmatic solutions for a world that must remain networked. Over 130 speakers and delegates from nearly 40 countries, including 10 cyber ambassadors and government representatives, will spend the next 3 days in New Delhi to join us in this effort. As always, we strive to create new coalitions and norms that can address comprehensively the problems of our digital world. We are grateful to our partners, speakers, delegates, and sponsors for joining us to create this debate on these very important issues. I'm confident that the ideas we hear at Sci-Fi 2019 will inevitably lead to a new consensus for our common digital futures. This was my note, the chair's note, which is also a part of the booklet that you received today. On the booklet, a couple of announcements. Some of you may see your photograph attached to someone else's name. We were not trying to play a prank here. It happens sometimes. The publication industry is still analog, and humans are still not as malicious as machines. So you will still see an efficiency. Also, we have missed a couple of pages. Please keep visiting the revised booklet online, and you can update yourself on the speakers, those of you who we have missed out, including my chairperson. So I had a career problem this evening. He is now back in the book. You can see his bio there. And of course, we have also changed certain timings, so it might be useful for you to appraise yourself of those changes. We will announce these every morning so that all of us are on the same page. What I thought was that before the ministerial session, which will be at 7 p.m., contrary to the information you've been given, that was fake news. But at 7 p.m. we will have the ministerial session. But now we will call up our co-chairs and we will do in some sense, a stage setting for what we want to discuss over the next 4 days: emerging technology, role of state, data, social media platforms, and everything else that my co-chairs would like to appraise you on. So for this, let me invite Sean Kanuk, Mahima Kaul, Shweta Rajpal Kohli, and Arun Sukumar onto the stage to have a conversation with me. Thank you.